Welcome to another episode of TERRA's Third Thursday video podcast series. Today, we will have another strategic discussion designed to help your organization maximize your e-scrap and or ITAD operations. I am your co-host, Stephen Napoli, President and CEO of TERRA, the Electronics Reuse and Recycling Alliance. For our regular consumers of these sessions, you know we strive to be brief while providing you with useful information to enhance your knowledge, operations, and bottom line. As a reminder, all of our previous content, including this, will be made available on our website, jointerra.org. Quickly before we get started, we would like to acknowledge our new and renewing members since our last session. These include the Blind Center of Nevada, Elgin Recycling, Minnesota Tech for Success, and SunTech. Our new members include Expire and our co-hosts today, Circular Integrity. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Tim Suling and John Sharp with Circular Integrity to discuss growth strategies for circular tech. All right, we're ready to get started with our Third Thursday podcast for the month of March 2025. I want to welcome our guests with Circular Integrity. We're going to be talking about growth strategies for circular tech. So I'm going to allow my guests to introduce themselves. Take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Stephen. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and to have a chance to speak to all the members of the great organization at TERRA. My name is Tim Suling. I am the CEO of Circular Integrity, which is the foremost global ITAD reverse logistics circular IT consulting firm. I had the opportunity of joining the organization and really being a part of its foundation roughly a year ago. And that was after a very storied career at Ingram Micro, leading global sales teams, supporting the ITAD organization from a pricing, from a demand generation perspective, as well as having the opportunity for a period of time of running marketing for our EMEA organization within Ingram Micro, which was a lot of fun opportunities. At the same time, following that opportunity, I took a role as a chief revenue officer at an ITAD organization and had the opportunity to really see that organization scale over a period of time and really develop a lot of their best go-to-market practices. At a certain juncture, I realized that there was a unique niche, right? And that was the idea that this is an underserviced community as it pertains to what is really go-to-market strategic consulting. Not the consulting that typical Bains or McKinsey's, not that they're great organizations, really focus on, but rather the idea of taking a very hands-on approach to helping organizations build, scale, and develop their overarching go-to-market strategy, as well as their overarching strategic vision as they look to 2025 and beyond. Really excited to be here and having this great conversation. Thank you very much.
That's great. You were speaking my language. It's so nice to be talking with some marketing folks. For me, being my background, it's always a nice joy for me to get folks that are on the marketing side of the equation here on our podcast. So, John?
Excellent. Thanks, Stephen, and thanks, Tim. I have the fortune of having joined Circular Integrity about 2 months ago. So I joined at the beginning of January as SVP of Strategy Consulting, working with Tim, and it's been great so far, getting ramped up and building a number of relationships in the industry, including with you, Stephen, and looking forward to joining up with TERRA. Prior to joining Circular Integrity, I was with Iron Mountain for almost 14 years in various roles, including about 5 years of direct leadership of the ITAD business when it was first starting up, direct leadership of the SMB customer segment go-to-market and the e-commerce initiatives that Iron Mountain had mobilized the last couple of years. I also had a product management role for a few years in the data protection space and the security space. So a lot of data protection, a lot of chain of custody, a lot of ITAD in my background at Iron Mountain. But previous to that, I also worked in the Global Technology Services Strategy Group at IBM. Prior to that, I was a strategy consultant for electronics industry clients of IBM's in the Business Services Group. And I was also an engineer, both for Motorola and Bose. So I've kind of run the gamut of engineering and ITAD for a long time. And I'm really excited to get in and provide more value with Circular Integrity. I'm a graduate of BC, go BC, and Yale, actually. So Yale has actually made it into the NCAA tournament again for the second year in a row. So I'm pretty psyched about that. And I live up in the Northeast in New Hampshire with my wife and 2 kids. So That's me in a nutshell. But look forward to taking this forward. Thank you.
Great to have you aboard, John. Yeah, some heavy hitters today who also know how to get their hands dirty. Perfect for this audience. So, um, Jim, you kind of want to walk through a little bit of your itinerary, the agenda for today, and we'll get going.
When we created circular integrity, the idea was really to fill a void in the marketplace. We knew that there are a litany of great ITAD, e-waste, reverse logistics, OEM, VARs, MSPs, who are all focused on the idea of the circular economy, yet potentially need additional assistance. They need assistance with either be vetting strategic ideas, having augmented sales teams, looking at how marketing can play a clear differentiator in the space, understanding how to build long-term plans and then staff accordingly, looking for executive coaching. We knew that most consulting firms didn't offer those types of services and specifically didn't know our space. We live
That's
and breathe.
critical.
It's
I mean,
absolutely critical. We live and breathe in such a unique ecosystem. The circular IT industry is one that is taking traction, is gaining momentum, has a lot of interest from outside investors. However, in many cases, is not fully optimized. We took this opportunity and we said, we know that we can help the great players, both within the TERRA organization and outside, to really help advance their overall mission in driving growth, but equally important, as I mentioned, profitable growth. Looking to ensure that we can be that advisory service that can be inserted into an organization, does not necessarily need training or development, but can hit the ground running to deliver very much near-term results.
that's excellent. I see that every day. I talk with our members on a constant basis, and kind of what I see is what you're seeing, is that there is, one, a lot of an entrepreneurial spirit out there. That there are small business owners that are covering a lot of ground and that need some help to really kind of capitalize and grow their business.
Mhm.
And also, I think we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years a big changeover in the number of people, the type of people, and who you see at like our trade shows because the ownerships are getting a little bit older. They're in their 50s, they're in their 60s. They're going to be looking for next steps. What do they want to do with their business over the next couple of years? And this industry is starting to mature. So I'm really excited about you all bringing your expertise to this space to help those that are in that growth mode and in that future planning mode to achieve their goals.
I really appreciate you saying that. As we look at the landscape today, we're at what I would call a tipping point. And I did a similar talk about this a few weeks back, and it's the idea that most organizations that today are considering themselves ITADs will continue to be so. But the idea of providing end-to-end solutions, being a incremental service provider, helping with that transition from what may be a recycler to an ITAD or from an ITAD to potentially an MSP, thinking differently about your business model, as we know we all need incrementality to grow. That's what's going to help attract new clients. That's going to help engage your margin profile. And ultimately, that's what's going to help strategically position the right individuals, the right organizations for long-term success. And to me, that's what really excites me about this opportunity. I can look specifically at what John, what myself, what others have taken on from a consultative perspective and can see the fruits of those labors play through and also be able to exercise what we see as best in class practices because our purview is very wide across the industry. It allows us to really think about how we can insert certain activities within various organizations based upon their strategic needs. It's an exciting time, and we're more than thrilled to be a part of it.
It is. And John, and put your perspective in there too. From the conversations you're having with your clients, what are you seeing out there in the marketplace?
Yeah, actually, a lot of what you guys were just talking about, what Tim just said, really resonated with what I'm seeing with my early client work. Uh, the piece around moving up the value chain from being a scrap recycler to being an ITAD is huge. And one of my first clients is actually trying to do just that. They're a small recycler. They don't know exactly what investments they'll have to make to become an ITAD, but they're very interested in doing so. They have an ERP system that they know they're not using to its full extent. They're still doing a lot of the sales themselves. Like the owners are literally the people calling out on the customers. They don't have a sales organization or sales talent. They don't have a CRM system. They know that even when they get in some small ITAD business that they have today, they don't really have a distribution model for the value recovery and the remarketing afterwards. So they know they have to go there, right? And they're super enthusiastic to get there. They're small, but they want to be bigger, right? So that's a really striking example of Tim, what you just articulated. Um, there's also the marketing piece is actually huge as well. Tim brought up the marketing work that we're doing and the marketing agency work. One of the first calls I took when I joined was from a company that said, literally, we have to redo our website. Can you do that? And yes, we can do that. We can absolutely help with that. We speak the language of ITAD. If you go to another agency or just hire a regular run of the mill agency off the street, they're not going to understand the business the way that we understand it. So you're gonna cut through the cycles. You're going to get to exactly what works
Yeah,
with
good luck
circular
finding a
integrity.
copywriter for understanding the ITAD business.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can help you with that, right?
I think
That's
I think
something people are
about
asking.
30% of all of them are on this call.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a great point though. But what we did when to dovetail a bit about our marketing work, this was a clear void in the industry, and it was something that was raised. Can't take credit for it, right? It was something that was raised to me by one of our clients. Said that this would be a great entry because I found myself writing a lot of copy, and that was in lieu of the agency that was in place at the time. So naturally, what the progression was to go out and recruit great individuals who have experience in ITAD, who have experience working for VARs and distributors, who know this space, know the vernacular, know what resonates with the most important person, which is that end customer. So really putting targeted messaging into place that is going to get more traction to your website, targeted email campaigns that will get higher engagement rates, landing pages which are going to communicate your message in a far more effective way, or just particularly branding exercises, right? But that
Right.
idea of being a differentiator in helping companies tell their story is what I find most compelling because no one was able to do it. If you listen to an owner of an ITAD of an e-waste provider, they tell these amazing stories about how they've grown the industry and they've really grown within the industry and they've grown their business over the last 10, 15, 20 years, yet encapsulating those great pieces of insight into collateral, which then helps sell their vision, has been a challenge. Our
Yes.
ability to really sit down and partner and listen, and that's most important, listen to the vision that they want to portray and then put that into content that helps them portray it in a much more easily fashion. It's really changing the industry in my opinion.
And that's why TERRA was why I founded TERRA 5 years ago. It was the idea that this whole industry has a story to tell. And you get into, these businesses, individual owners that may have been doing this business for 10, 15 years, may not have put out a press release in that entire time. And the incredible value they've added to their communities, to this industry, has never been told. So, to be able to, for you guys to get in there kind of and get your hands involved in their businesses and kind of coach them on all these different aspects without having to go pay the big money to buy a full service advertising agency when they need this much of their services, but they need help with sales, they need help with consulting, they need help with striking into new marketplaces. I think you guys are going to be bringing a tremendous amount of value to, our members and beyond.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And when you spoke to the marketing component, it also differentiates around what we're doing from a consultative perspective. We are not one of your big consultant agencies, the names that we've all heard of, right? We are very much focused on working with our clients in a very detailed fashion. This is not a transaction, it's a relationship. And that relationship may be project based and also can be very long term based. But the idea is that there's a few principles that we found the organization upon. One was that we wanted to always work with the best players in the industry, meaning those who carry themselves with the same sense of integrity that our organization does, that exude the idea of growth, but the idea of growth through proper channels, through fundamentally sound means. The second piece is that we never want to take on a project that we know we can't deliver a distinct return on investment back to our clients with. And that's important. It's the idea that we want to be part of success. We don't want to ever be in the position of not delivering upon what we believe that success looks like. So we are very diligent in scoping out our activities. We take care to ensure that we're going to be providing exactly what our clients want and thereby maximizing their spend so that their return on their investment with circular integrity is going to be multifold and ultimately help propel them into the next steps of their journey.
Obviously, there's some synergies between our organizations. That's why we kind of announced this partnership a week or so ago online. But we'll be talking a little bit more about what that's going to mean for our individual members, in this conversation and in conversations to come. But still, want to dive into a little bit more of, it's kind of the specifics of some of the offerings that you are going to be providing to some of our members.
Sure. Let me address that. Right. I'll answer the question how I ended the last point is that we really look to listen to what the core needs are. Now, not every organization is going to have the same need state. What is common for every ITAD, downstream e-waste provider, reverse logistics organization is the need for net new logos. We get that. So we are very much specialized in how to create go-to-market strategies to identify those net new opportunities and then bring those into your business either on a project or contractual basis. That's straightforward, right? That's the need of every organization that I've worked with and every organization I anticipate working with in the future. We all are all looking for growth. But at the same time, we take the opportunity to look at how we can provide operational efficiencies. We look at how we can assist with business development coaching. Each organization has this differentiated need. Some organizations have brought us on to simply act as executive coaches, right? That additional sounding board to ensure that whether it be a CEO, a head of sales, a head of marketing is really yielding their top results by getting that extra layer of context through our support. Our engagements run from companies that may just do a few million in revenue to those do hundreds of millions. Each organization has the same overarching need state, but the manner in which we can deliver those solutions is going to be highly customized to the organization which we're partnering with. We do not try to fit a square peg into a round hole. It's more of a tailored engagement that's focused on that organization's success. I can give a number of examples, whether it be filling the role of a vacant position in an interim for an interim period as an executive in residence, whether it be working with an OEM on their circular IT lifecycle position, whether working with VARs around establishing partner networks with ITADs so that they can join in the circular IT economy, whether it be taking a traditional e-waste provider and transitioning them to an ITAD so that they have a balance of both. We've played across so many landscapes in a relatively short period of time, but made such an impactful impact in the industry. And to me, that's something that each time I start an engagement or conclude engagements, I'm walking away with a sense of fulfillment with a client who has seen those results that John and myself and others have helped create and have that just knowing that we have that ability to make a difference, again, in a relatively small industry, but we can make that difference for each individual in a very customized way. And that really excites us. And that's what propels us forward. And this is really one of the great reasons why we wanted and look forward to partnering with TERRA, because of the great membership consortium that's in place. We'll take a pause because I'm stumbling on my words.
Yeah,
I simply want to say you have a great group of members. I started to get really long-winded on that.
That's okay. I got a notation there, and I'll just say to kind of compliment that is that TERRA's membership, I think, is really well suited for the kind of services that you offer. That you're not going to look at our roster and see some of the 800-pound gorillas in the industry are not going to be on our roster. We're looking at organizations that have 1, 2, 3 facilities maybe that are really covering a lot of ground. Their executives are covering a lot of ground. Their salesperson is their marketing person. Their marketing person may be doing some accounting work, and they need fractional help and they need support all over the place in terms of just getting everything organized and exploring some new opportunities. And for you all to be able to bring fresh set of eyes, another pair of hands, and some expertise in a lot of different areas, you can accelerate the growth of these smaller organizations much more, probably even you may be able to impact some of the bigger ones because those small changes are going to yield some big dividends and big results for especially the Terra members.
I love that you said that. You think about growth within a large multinational ITAD. If you can grow 5%, you're thrilled. The industry is anticipated to grow at about 8, but if you can get 5, 6, 7, it's phenomenal. If you're in a large multinational organization, but yet our clients that we work with today, they have the potential to grow 30, 40% through some strategic alterations in their go-to-market. That ability to think about large scale growth, it's much more apparent within a smaller or an SMB type organization, which really leads me to commenting on why anyone should think about partnership with John and myself and circular integrity. We have a unique set of backgrounds. John, when he hit his experience at Iron Mountain, his experience in working in a consultancy at IBM, that level of understanding of how organizations operate and how both large ITADs as well as then being exposed to more SMB type ITADs go to market is going to be a unique point of differentiation. My background at Ingram, as well as running a mid-tier from a CRO perspective, ITAD is going to bring unique skill sets that ultimately have the ability to really help enable growth. And that to me is truly exciting. The partnership that John, myself, and our marketing organization bring to the TERRA group is beyond expectations, and I really look forward to the success ahead.
Exactly. Same here. And, just again, little teasers that we talked about. We're going to be, proactively reaching out to a lot of our members here very shortly, talking to them a little about the opportunities that exist within this new partnership. So keep your ears open. All right, guys, this has been a fantastic conversation. And we're getting close to wrapping things up. But before we did, I just want to ask John, is there any, kind of other last minute trends that you're seeing out there in the industry?
Well, Stephen, one thing that is constantly coming up in my conversations is this concept of consolidation, and the industry becoming smaller while it's growing, right? And you mentioned earlier some of the owners are sort of their businesses are maturing and they're looking for exit strategies and they're looking for other ways. They're maturing, right? But that's something that's coming up all the time. I recently actually spoke with someone who was running a smaller mobile distributor who was looking at an exit strategy, wanted a buyer, just as an example, in the last couple of weeks. So that's definitely something that's top of mind that we're well positioned to help with.
It's a good point, John. I appreciate you bringing that up. Over the past year, we've partnered with over half a dozen PE firms who are really looking to enter into the circular economy, and who specifically are looking at ITAD and e-waste providers in there to add to their portfolios to complement other companies that they have, or to potentially have them run standalone. The need for organizations to at the very least, be thinking about their exit strategy is always going to be apparent, right? We should always be thinking about our next steps. What we've been doing with a number of our clients is helping them prepare for that next evaluation, for that next flip, for that next buyer, by helping build pipeline, by helping build process that we know is attractive to potential buyers, to ensure that teams are structured in a way that a potential buyer would find most advantageous, and also coaching the C-suite on how they can position again themselves for that next stage of their careers. To me, that's one of the key trends we're seeing, alongside with, as I mentioned earlier, the idea of circularity. If you take those two themes, ensuring that companies are offering as many services as possible to attract net new clients, and then equally at the same time preparing themselves for that next phase, whether that be an exit or whether that be hyper growth, we as an organization are very much poised to be a player and to be a partner in that journey. And we really welcome the opportunity.
That's fabulous. Everybody knows where this industry is going. They see that the amount of material that's being created is not shrinking. It's only going to increase, and increase likely exponentially, which makes the people that are in this business and the businesses they own that much more valuable. And I know from a TERRA member's perspective, since everybody in our network is certified, since the certification agencies kind of fixed their positions a couple of years ago with the new standards, the table's kind of set. So we know the players that are in the market right now, and for those that are established, they really need to be, like you say, taking a look at what that next step looks like and be prepared to take advantage of the position that they're in. So we'll be hopefully having a lot of those conversations with TERRA members in the weeks and months to come. Look forward to having that with everybody. But with that, we will close out today's session. And I thank you, Tim. I thank you, John, with Circular Integrity for being our hosts this month. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody again the third Thursday in April. Take care,
Thank you,
everybody.
Stephen.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
guys.
Bye-bye.